Welcome back everyone to another evening of live game development, working on my action RPG game, Hallowheart. As you can see, I'm going to be running through a couple of the stuff we've been working on for the last week or so on the game, and to start with, I'm just going to play through the level I've got, show off some of the bosses and new features that we've added. You can probably tell that we've added some more post-process effects to the camera. I'm playing in what's considered a rainy environment now. We've got a bunch of ideas of how to set these up to have them change when you're entering or exiting buildings. But for now, I'm just going to run through the game as it is and walk through the various features that we've added. So you can see that I've got upgrades now. I've gone through these a couple times. I made some extra changes to these recently to kind of make them a little more easy to use. So this one is basically, it's applying burning whenever I attack a guy with an attack, not with a special attack, but it's kind of what it says on the box there. You'll notice that I've had a little bit of zoom when you roll. Let me show you this. Flip over to this guy. You can see that this thing generates a camera shake, but we've actually added very recently, which will be in the next build we push up to itch. You can actually go to an options menu in here and change the settings on this thing. So let me go to the settings, all the way down, turn off camera shake, turn off damage numbers, and you can take a look at what this looks like. So now you don't get any camera shake when you smash stuff. You don't get any damage numbers when they're displayed. You can also do things like tweak the music volume and sound effect volume. And that's triggering that thing right now, so let me just change that and slide these guys over. Turn this stuff back on. Another thing I've got to do is the hotkey for switching and selecting your hero perks is still bound to left, which I have to fix, so that does not get triggered when you enter that menu. But that's a big step, as we finally got a settings menu in there. And there'll be more things we'll have to add to the menu as we go. But that's a pretty cool new feature. And we'll be doing more things with this post-process. I'm just going to run through this level real quick and try to get to the boss and show you guys what the new boss behavior is like. Oh, I forgot to change the boss's health. So when we get there, we'll play with them for a little bit and we'll get an idea of it. First thing I've got to do is I got to find the keys I need for this level. There are 3 keys to open that boss door, and I got to find them real quick. And as longer I play in this mode, the higher the threat level goes. And you see this threat levels listed on the console window. We'll get something on the UI for that threat display at some point to kind of let players know that the threat is building up. And that threat only really goes down when more and more dangerous monsters spawn. So the longer you play, the higher it'll go up, and then you have to clear it, or else you'll get more and more powerful monsters coming after you. And this will help so that a lot of the people who are playing in the survival mode, when I just did it, like I just disappeared. That's one of the problems with spawning guys in this map is actually we've got a way to clean up monsters that don't have targets, because we've got a pool of monsters that exists the entire time you play. And so when a monster doesn't have a target for a period of time, it'll actually just despawn him and then kind of put him into a pool to spawn him near you later. But unfortunately, I tick that event on a unique timer that's like global, and sometimes those guys will spawn before they get their first target. They will despawn, so that's what you're seeing there. Still haven't found a key yet. Let me go over here. Yeah, one of the things people didn't like in survival mode is they kept spawning the really powerful bosses over and over, and you ended up having to run most of the time. And daggers are actually pretty great in this map for using the lightning, because they apply 2 stacks each time you hit somebody. I'll try to rush through this and get some. Here's my first key. One of the big changes that you guys probably won't notice unless you're playing a lot of multiplayer on this is I refactored the whole way that we network movement and act replication across the network. So we had this an old spawning system. Let me see if I can get this. Where is this? I need to be able to see my live stream. We basically added a bunch of new ways that we spawn players in, and then track them. See, now that my threat level is high enough, it spawned those bigger guys. And let me see, I'll kill these guys off here real quick, and then we'll take a look at the threat, and it's back down to 0.2. So I've grabbed all 3 keys. This is perfect. I've got all 3 keys. I don't need to grab any more. I bet there were 2 that spawned in that location. I'll have to go fix that at some point. And I just gotta get to the boss. And he's always located at the center tile of this map, so it's not gonna be hard to find him. While I get chased by a bunch of dudes. And show off the new boss tech we built. Okay, so for the first boss, I went for some really basic features for him. For you know, most bosses, he's gonna have, every boss we're gonna game, we're gonna have phases and stages for the boss based on how their health pool is at the current time, and apply different effects to them and do different behaviors in the map. I keep getting hit by these guys when the boss is alive. So we'll take a look here. So the boss triggers when you enter the room. He spawns these little tentacle monsters that all they do is they're our first monster that really behaves slightly. They behave differently than a standard monster in that they don't move. They don't have a standard weapon in the same way other monsters do. They actually kind of have a weapon and creature visibility kind of in the same location. And then they spawn these rocks that they throw over time. Eventually, I've got them right now to where they actually don't move if you hit them like a standard monster would. So if I hit this guy, he's just going to stay right at. He also doesn't get staggered, which is a problem. I want them to have a staggered animation if they get hit. And so let me go ahead and I'm going to try to clear these guys out that aren't the boss so I can kind of better idea what the boss is doing at the time. So you'll notice the boss right now, he's got this little shield buff on him. And if I attack him while the shield buff's up, I'm actually doing basically no damage. I think it's 99% less damage than typical. And the only way to get that shield buff off is you'll notice that when he does this jump, he will spawn these rocks that fall from the ceiling here. But occasionally, when he does the jump, he'll spawn not just the rocks, but this little holy sensor that comes down. And I'll show you what it looks like once I can see one here. All right, we'll find it. Somewhere around here. There it is. So he'll drop one of these. So the idea is to drag him to it because it will break his shield. So you want to bring him over to one of these before they despawn. So hopefully he'll get into this one. So he's going to jump into it, he'll land it, and then the shield will be shattered. Now the shield will reactivate over time, and he just switched phase again. Oh, he's going to die real fast. I set his health down to pretty low, so when he dies, I actually got a trigger in here that will actually clear off all these monsters, and it also spawns the exit portal. I wonder why that thing still has a health. Weird. They were despawning with a health pool. I guess they were taking damage post-death, which is kind of weird. So go ahead and exit, and it's a typical. That's like a typical match that we wanted. Typical flow for a match. That's not to say we won't have different monsters or different quests, because each of these things can be a different set of rules to get you to the boss. But ideally, we have at least one boss, maybe some sub-bosses in there if you need to like, gather. Say the green key is in some place, but it requires a boss to kill, spawning a chest. Let's see. So I'll go over real quick. Then let's see what's going on here. What was I going to go over here? I was going to go over. Yeah, I was going to go over. My buddy Alan was working on this this post-process system, and it's pretty sweet. So did I not set this up properly? I might not have set this up properly. So the idea here, if I can enter one of these things. Maybe I turned it off. I might have turned it off. Let me see. Or it could just be busted. So what this does is it actually modifies the post-process of the camera by putting different elements on it. So there's a vignette that's supposed to go over on interior. Let me make sure I have this thing correct. Let's see. Main menu. Let's close this down and take a look at the code where I'm at. Post-process effect manager, and then this was called, add effect was called from here, and that's in player camera. Right here. Do player. Okay, make sure I get this thing right. Maybe it's actually because we quit the match and we went back into a new match, and it only does it once. We'll find out in a second. Okay, so yeah, so here we're seeing. This is what we're seeing. We're supposed to see. I don't know why it didn't clear the list. Maybe I'll have to do something to clear a list of these post-process effects. So when you enter tile that I've got flagged for one of my various scripting maps on each chunk, it will change the post-process. So whenever you enter a room, we're going to have a post-process that makes the room, makes that vignette appear and give the room a more claustrophobic feeling to it. And then exterior will open it up, and this also allows us to do things like have different interior warmths. So this will be an interior that I believe is a cool interior. And so you notice there's different settings for the fog. And it's the same first interior. Let's see what interior C looks like. It takes a sec. There's a fade time I need to mess with. That's a little warmer than the other one. We've also got different exterior values. So see that they kind of fade. This one, there's actually like some bug in here right now where it's supposed to fade between these, but it does clip a little bit. I think it's because it's lerping back to the base value each time. So you can see we've got a much warmer, greener color to the fog, and then a different exterior for the darker exterior. And then let's go to the lightest, or this one over here. This should be the darkest yet. So yeah, a lot of interesting effects we can add to the game and give it a little more variety to the levels without having to add more unique tile sets and more chunks to the game. It's interesting that it doesn't clear the list. It doesn't appear to be working after you play the first match. I'll have to run that client to figure what's going on there. Yeah, none of them are picking up. Okay. So, what else? What I'm going to be working on tonight is I have a couple of options. The first thing I wanted to do was look at this material, which is a palette swap material. Let me show you what this could do here. You notice that in our new game menu, where you assign your character's stats or your character's abilities and appearance, I have all these color flags. But they don't do anything right now. You just get one sprite. And what I want to do is start implementing different color palettes to each hero. And I was going to look at this because Alan had put together a material for it and showed me how to use it a little bit, but it's been so long. Maybe I'll hold off on this piece and just work on a new monster. Let me take a look, see if I can figure it out real fast. I think the cleric is the one that had the... Yeah, so here's the cleric that had this cleric swaps. So let's go set the cleric up with his idol. And I think we just... Oh, because this tree is set here. This isn't stuck and stunned. So I got idol. And then let's go play with his material. Now he's got... Okay, so we've got color. Now these are things that I built a long time ago, which was basically the warnings and the hit flashes. That has nothing to do with this. The alpha progress, I believe, is the one that fades you when you are dead in ghost form. That one's still useful. Let's take a look at cutoff. Okay, so this value here gets colors that are near the color that you've got selected. And I believe this lets me change the color, so you can see I should be grabbing both blues and pushing it. Doesn't appear to be doing that though. Let's see. Maybe it's supposed to be grabbing the blue grays that I've got. Maybe if I just grab them. Okay, so this is clearly an index that changes the pick location. So that one can't be it. And this is grabbing most of the colors. Yeah, maybe I'll have to take a look at this when I have a better grasp of what I'm trying to do here. But we can hold off on that and don't save this guy. And let's go take a look. Either build the interface here. I think the real way to do this though is I don't think I want to have the color. I don't want a color to be these presets. I want like a palette you could select. In the same way that I don't necessarily want you to have a slider for each one of these because I think that's just too much data. I want like 10 colors per. And part of that's because I want to be able to send all the color data across the network as like a one-time grab, but I still want to compress it. Okay, so let's go and start setting up our werewolf. Let's go to Photoshop and grab. Now, I haven't set up the entire set of animations for this guy. I don't think I actually set any up. I just did his base color. So this may be a lot of Photoshop. But I have an idea of what I want. Okay. Here is the base of our werewolf. And here is the typical, he's going to be medium-sized, which is the big red demon size. And so I'm going to use this as a base for all my animations. Let's see. Although he's going to be slightly smaller overall, it looks like. And I'm not sure if that's just because... I don't know, we'll see, because he's going to definitely have a jump animation. I've written out all the attacks for him, and he's got several jumps in the same way, actually a little different than how the tentacle dude has his jumps. So let's go. Okay, let's grab him. And so these hands I've got is going to be set up the same way that the red dude's hands are set up, which is on the weapon atlas. So the weapon atlas is where I set up a lot of basically all the weapons and some various effects that I want to have come from them. But this is the one I kind of want because I like some of the animation that I built for this guy, but I don't want to use the exact same set of animations on the sprite sheet. So, but we basically want to take this. We want to make our own extra one for the wolf. Now he's going to need a spot, and you can see like this is where even the bat's bite assets are set up. And I doubt people even realize this, but the hand axes actually have several animation states that go when one of the cans are idle, they point the axe out so it doesn't cover so much of the player's face. And then I actually have this set up too for a future utility. I want to have players be able to place these bear traps down and snap enemies. And you can see all these weapons that I've got pulled that I'll eventually end up putting into the game. Okay. I'm not even sure the correct sprite size of this thing, but let me grab the hands I want. For now, I'm just going to use, I think this is the closest one to, oh no, wait, I think it's this one. This one. So the wolf's hands are going to be a little more proportionate than the big demon monster, which are like kind of crazy proportions they're a little unnecessary. Oh. Okay. And this was a pretty decent idol. The thing with the hand animations is that they had basically two requirements. You could see that this is pretty much always the front of the palm of the hand, and then we had one for the back of the hand for when he completes a swipe. I think it's this one here is considered the back of the hand. Okay. But I'm not going to worry about that animation for now, because that's going to take a bunch of tweaking. No one wants to sit here to see that. Okay, and the body. Let's cut these off. Okay, so typically you can see all my monsters have basically 4 frames of animation for their idle, their run, their jump. Although this guy's jump is all the same type. He never has to jump really has a jump at all. And eventually I might just end up cutting this thing in half because I hate having to copy these guys over from one side to the other all the time, because I don't think there's like 1 or 2 characters who may have a patch on one eye that will be flipped if it's the other side, but I guess it depends on how OCD you want to be about it. And I got someone saying that I should try to make these things black. Dark eyes, which maybe. You know what? I'll go with yellow for now, and probably. I'll probably figure out some other thing I want to do with him later. Again, we haven't really done any palette swaps for any of the monsters yet, but I could foresee something like that. Okay, so this guy's got this creature has like a pretty exaggerated idol, which I pulled from a kit that I like a free dungeon kit that I found online, which has some really cool animations for what they're, for free. But I want to use this. This guy's definitely going to have a more more natural animation. So I want him to. So basically, it's typically like this. So he's got the highest frame, he's got a mid frame, and then he's got the lowest frame. And what you do is you usually build. This frame will be the mid frame, and that basically will drop the guy by a pixel or 2. But I want to do something with the tail too, and maybe something with the head as well. So the head moves down a little bit as he kind of hunches down. Although that probably should be the next frame. And let me go ahead and just put this in here. Actually, the best way to check this is this thing called Pixel app. This guy. I don't even know how to pronounce it, but yes, this is actually probably the best place to do these little tiny animations in. It's free online. It's just a web browser thing. Not the best if you're. Let me see why I didn't like it, because I don't have the thing merged down. It's not the best if you want to do like complicated. You can't rotate stuff. You can't do a lot of the fun stuff. I'm sure they have like a paid version that lets you do more stuff. But what I need it for is just to get a look at this animation as I'm moving it around. And so, oh no. Move you down to the floor here, and then you can duplicate the frames. And what I do is really basic stuff, like taking the whole, this selection, come on, select, drag them down a frame. And I take the FPS way down, because I think my stuff tends to run between 4 and 8 frames for the character animations. And then I'll duplicate this frame and take his, take him down the remaining amount. I'll start with the head. Again, it's never perfect on this thing. I always end up cleaning it up, but let me go take him down one more on his body. Give this clean up some of these. And then we'll duplicate this frame and drag it down to the bottom. Doesn't quite look right with the head going down on that final frame. I'm guessing we've got to take this head, the head down on the frame ahead of time. Let's see. Because the head goes down here. And then I want to clean this up because that's not the right. We still want the back of the character to be as tall as it was. Let's see. Okay, so bottom frame. So that needs to go. Okay, we'll just duplicate this guy. Move it to the bottom and take a look. Okay, so there's a missing pixel there I'll need to fix. Let's see. This guy is... Let's fix that one, and okay. I wonder if I should get his jaw to move a little bit. There's always this question of what's too much movement versus what's the right amount, or what's too stiff. And I think right now the tail is too stiff. The tail needs to move, but I think the head is fine. Although I do wonder, like, his nose going full black might look too weird. But it really should be darker than it is. I don't know. I almost want the shagginess of the back of the fur to move a little bit. Let me see. Okay. That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool with the fur moving just a little bit. Now you can do things in that second down frame that are different than the first one. So this mid frame that's technically cloned right now can actually be different. In fact, I could do the tail in a different state on both of these, and it would read okay. Assuming it looks like one is going up and one is going down. So let me see. Let's see if I can do that. I'll do it this way. I'll have the tail, instead of being so stiff, I'll move the tail. We'll change the shape of it, actually. We're just going to change the shape, and I'm going to have this frame bring the tail out a pixel or two. You really can't go very far with this without causing it to look weird in a single frame, because, again, you only have a handful of frames to mess with. So there's one frame down, and I'm going to take this frame just as my base to start with for the next frame, which is going to be this guy. Let me delete what's there, grab this, and I'm going to move it down one. Let's see. Let me delete this guy again. And I want to grab this one and move it down proportionate to where. Move it down one frame or 1 pixel, because then it'll be lower. I don't know why it's not moving it. I have to grab it again. Oh yeah, the whole shift. Okay, so I'm going to take that and go ahead and that'll work. Okay, so you've got a little bit of a wag going on here. And I'll take another pixel off of this. All right, so it's just there needs to be a little bit of movement. Same way that I did the bat, because the bat didn't have a whole bunch of pixels to work with. But yeah, if you go too far, it really does look bad, so. Let's see. What about that? And again, because this frame is still the first, I'm gonna grab. Let me just copy this guy again. And move him down to the bottom. Okay. So this frame needs to be just a little bit different than the previous one. I want to take it and I want to shave off these bottom pixels. And move it up one. Okay, I mean that's fine. I really do wanna. I think it might be a little too much movement now. Okay, I think that's good enough for now. And I want to move some of that hair. I want to move this hair piece down. I want to move this hair piece over. This one I want to move down. Let's move these guys up. Okay, so now he's got a bit more of a shaggy hair look, which I kind of like. I think that's good, so I'm going to go ahead and export this guy for now, and we'll come back to playing with him if I don't like the look. Download. Okay. Drag him in. Okay. Let's set him up. If I remember correctly, this thing... Let me grab the old ones, dump them. Grab this, we'll dump it, and then we'll move these guys to the right position. And what I do to find out basically where to place these is I usually find like one pixel that is on their texture that lines up proper. Like this is just going to use the base of the ear here. Sometimes, mostly the time it's the eyeball, but this guy's actually kind of special in that his head is so far forward. Can't really use the eyes as my guide. And I always cut these cells in half to get the actual center. Okay, so that's not bad for vitals. I'll move this guy over here. I'm going to do a flip. Actually, let me just grab them all. I do kind of wonder if I need to move his color, because I think all I did when I was building this guy is I desaturated everything and I just turned it down to gray, and I think we probably want to make these guys a little warmer. But again, we have so many post processes in the game that who knows if it's going to be the right color. Let's see here. Okay, let me set this up. Okay, let's see. Got the idol then, and now I'm just gonna do what is gonna save me 1,000,000 hours. I'm gonna take this guy's feat for each one of his run frames and apply it to my werewolf, because that's gonna save me some serious time. Just the bottom of them. It's not the exact same, but it's pretty close. And then grab these. Grab these. I just want the basic shape of these feet and kind of the furriness of them. Although looking at them, I'm not sure it's going to work with the size of the characters. I did reduce the size, so I think the first thing to do is actually, and I can keep this guy on here, no problem with that. So it looks like as a basic layout, I want to delete these other frames. So now I have my kind of my up idle frame. Let me grab this, which I believe is the highest frame, which is feet extended, which will work for me. We want to take this guy, let's see, how many pixels is this thing up? This thing is almost 4 pixels up. 1, 2, 3, 4. And here's the problem with this thing, is you don't get, there are layers. Let me add a layer to this thing and see if I can't put these up in a decent fashion. Get rid of all the outside edges. But really I just want this shape. I want the shape of the legs open, displayed like that, and I don't really care about the color that's on it. And I probably want to reduce how wide it is, because his feet aren't nearly as wide as the other one. So let's do that. Pull this in. I really do like that shape though that's there, where the leg has that backwards knee, which is kind of cool. Let's move it over 1. And then we'll move this guy on the other side over as well. And that'll give us pretty close to the shape we want. Yeah, it's not so bad. And let's see. Let's see if we can't just fill these in with the right colors, and if it works out. So there's our setup. Although I'm looking at it now and I'm saying that that side on the left doesn't quite look wide enough. It does need to go out 1 more. It's interesting because the creature doesn't actually have, his legs don't splay that far out. But then again, his idle pose is much more narrow in his legs too. Let me tweak it 1 more time. There we go. And then I want to take, where's the other layer? I can go to this layer here. Let me cut out some of this. At least the bottom part. Yeah, that still doesn't quite look right. I think it's because this piece here. Let's just merge them. It's close enough. Let's see. Okay, so in my in the wolf up here, the shading goes a little differently. I want to make sure I can preserve most of the same shading. I guess there's one piece that goes in on the side. And this piece. Yeah, it doesn't look right. Let's get rid of this piece here. Yeah, they definitely look like they've got just baggy feet. Let's see. Let's move this one. Okay. I'll call that good for now. And then let's take the duplicate this guy over. I like we'll start with these feet. We'll do them up on the top here, which is basically back foot extended, front foot up. Hopefully this won't take too long. I'm not going to spend so much time on this tonight because I want to get into actually making the dude. This is actually have to make a new frame and make a new layer. We'll throw this guy in here. And let me see, because this guy was 4 pixels up, and it looks like this guy's 2 pixels below that. So this is actually pretty dead on. Oh, that's 6 pixels up. That can't be that tall. Right? That's 1, 2... No, it looks like it's 4. Oh, because this thing isn't actually representative of the pixels. Okay. Okay, so here's the problem. This thing's head is several pixels taller than the other one. So this guy actually has to move down. Or the other one has to move up. So I'm going to move him down 1. I'm going to move the other guy up 1. Oh, it's grabbing the whole thing. Let's move him down 1. And then I'll move him up 1. Let me just check right here where this guy's line is, because I usually just use the eyeballs, so we can do that. Looks like the eyes are 3 pixels above. Yeah, 3 pixels above the other one. Which might be a part of the head as well. But it looks like the legs are... Go with the crotch, the little lowest spot here. It looks like the crotch is just 2 pixels, so that makes sense. But the head has changed. So that means the head has been moved up on the highest frame. Which means we could probably get away with moving the head down on the mid frame. I almost wonder if this should see more shadow over under it. Okay. Let's go back to the Photoshop. And we've got the touchdown frame right here, which is actually the highest head frame. But I don't think we need to follow that necessarily, because that doesn't quite make sense for the creature we're making. So we're gonna grab the one with the head down, which is this guy. We'll duplicate him. And then we'll make him the touchdown frame, which is... We'll have to throw a layer on this thing, just so we can copy it over. And we'll go just merge it down. I wonder why that looks so funky. Let's see. He needs to go... Does he need to go down one? Yeah, he really does need to go down one, because that is right before the touchdown frame, so we could probably take his head and grab this guy's upper body. Okay, so that looks pretty good, actually. Assuming I can clear out all the junk. Let's go ahead and get rid of the junk on layer 1. Okay, so now we've got this frame. Let's see, I need to do a bunch of cleanup on it. Let's cut the whole tail off because we're going to have to reattach a new tail anyway. Okay, so now let's grab that tail. Okay, so now we've got that second mid frame, which is mostly when he's just touching down, and now I want that final one where he is at the lowest point in the animation, which is here. Which, as you can see, this guy's got a bunch of motion, not only for the fact that his connection to the ground is at its lowest point where his crotch is, but it's also he's got this extra speed coming down from the top frame that we'll mimic something like that in the hair. For now, I'm just going to grab this, not too complicated, although I really like this down. Let me just grab this down one and adjust the center right here. So the center of mass is basically right in the middle. We want more or less this shape. Oh. Let's select tool again. Maybe slightly off. And we don't really want any vertical or horizontal change in the character's position right now. We'll probably do some head bobs back and forth, but it still looks wrong. Okay, let's clear up this edge stuff. And then we want to take what we had, what they had over there was a center foot, and everything else was kind of just smushed. So we'll just extend the center here. We'll call this the center foot, and then we'll take everything else and we'll cut it back. And depending on where this thing ultimately there we go. So that's and it's a pretty thick center foot too. We probably could move a little further forward, and we want to add the shadows back to here. Maybe we'll clean up the front of this thing as well. It's not so straight. I know a lot of the animation style we've got in the of the characters is very square. But I think that's good enough for now. I could do cleanup on it for hours, but we'll just get it in and we'll start playing with the character. Always come back to cleaning it up. All right, let's export. And this is going to be interesting too, because we've got to make sure that both axes are correct size. So I believe this one is supposed to be 2 up. This one's 4 up. And these guys, the only one who's really on the ground are these two. I could save myself some trouble by exporting at the same dimensions, but I just can't be bothered. Make sure these are the right. Those are the right height. And these two are easy because they're on the ground. Okay, and that's the basics. We don't even need to really do the rest of them as long as we have these ones in to get started with the character. Now you're going to see him flicker into all of these guys when he starts doing abilities, but I just want to get him in and start running around with him. Now all these sprite sheets are saved out as pings, and for now, I will eventually, I mean hopefully, I think, probably in the next couple updates, I'll probably end up taking a stab at atlasing all the monsters into one sheet and try to get as much stuff into the game as a single sprite sheet as I can. And I don't need to mess with this right now. And I'll hold on to this. Okay, so, let's see, let's take a look. The biggest chunk of work that goes into putting a creature together is mostly done in code now, because all of my creatures are cached and preloaded, and they get their monster controllers and their sprites loaded in at runtime when they're spawned. So, really, I mean, I can take a look here. If I've got, let me grab the werewolf, and the new loading. Take its sprite. First thing I gotta do is turn the filter off, because the filter will make all the pixels look smooth, which is what you don't want to have happen. Just apply this to sprite here as normal. Let's see, and then the reason he's looking like that because he is set to, in the animation tree, he is set to, what is it, stunned. So set the idle. There we go. You can see I can set him to the running. Oh, it looks like he's moving forward on the run. Take a look here. This frame. Yep, that's it. Okay. Okay, all the ears line up now. There we go. So with my little animation tree here, all of them have different time scales that can be set, so I can actually adjust their run speed in real time, mid game, because they're their timescale of their animation for runs is actually based off of their creature speed. And so when it gets populated, the timescale for their runs get changed too. And I think that's the bare minimum for that. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the code here. Game data loader is the place that I store all of the game data as it pertains to like loading in elements. Let me grab and make it full screen here. So these every monster in the game has this monster data class, and it's it just right now it does a bunch of stuff, but it mostly holds values of the monster's stats and changes how their hitbox shape is for bigger and smaller, their foot shape is for moving, and then it assigns them what controller that monitors their kind of brain activity and tells them what to do. And it basically also sets up all their skills too. So, actually, no, their skills are set up by their weapons. So, and their controller tells them what to do with those weapons. So what I need to do is I need to add the monster to my enum list. And so we're getting up there with monsters now. We're what, at 10? This will be, yeah, we're at 10. This will be number 11. Okay, so the monster's base is close to the Hirundu, which is the medium-sized demon. I'm gonna go ahead and add this guy down here. Okay, and he's got the Hirundu controller. There's something else over here too we gotta get. So this is where when I load in the monster's name, I can pull the correct resource out. So I wanna grab this one here, and we're gonna add an entry for a werewolf. Now, eventually, I'm going to have these controllers contain. I'm trying to think of how I'm going to have the controllers contain this sprite, because this being loaded in a second spot actually causes a little bit of a hitch if you load too many at once, too many different ones, that is. And it's not on a multi. It's not on like the second thread like the monster controller is loaded. So let me copy the path for this guy. Okay, and then so we've got this is our hero resources, which we're going to look at. This is our, what are these? These are the player portraits. And this is where I set up all the color stuff. I'm going to dig into that later. Now there is one other thing, and that is the weapons. Monsters are assigned a weapon. Let's see. But I want to give this guy just a weapon that we already have set up, because I just want to get him in and see what it looks like. But I forget where I put the weapon that a monster is assigned. Let me take a let's take a look at the skill component, because that is where the weapon gets assigned when the monster is activated. Okay, so let's see. Rep bars. All right, here's activate for a hero, and then activate for a monster is here. But it provides the weapon set name. Oh, it's actually in the data. So that's another thing that I've got in the monster data that I actually put in. I should probably just set this as a value in the data. Let me just go find monster data real quick. In addition to like stats and stuff, the monster data class runs some functions every now and then. So here's the weapons. With get weapon set name for monster. Now I really should just make this a variable on here I can assign, because it doesn't make any sense the way I'm doing it right now. I'm just going to give this guy the raised weapons for now. Let's see what that looks like. Actually, I can give him the Rundu weapons. I gotta take a real quick break. I'll be right back. Okay, I am back. We got the werewolf, giving this weapons, and then now when he spawns in, let me go actually in the spawn point manager. This will have to be moved. But right now, this is where monsters are spawned from the dungeon master, the AI controls loading. So I've got type index. Usually I do it as the random range, but because this is I want to spawn just this guy. Actually, it's not done here anymore. It's done in the dungeon master. Okay, mission dungeon master. This is a base class that it controls that threat level, and it determines what monsters to spawn from a pool. Here it is. This is the spawn threat by tier. And adds into these lists as the tier goes up, and then it clears the list. Let's see. I want to add just the werewolf. Okay, and there's one more thing I gotta do. There's a chance I'll spawn the skeleton because the threat could be high. Alright, so one thing I gotta do is I've got to create the werewolf's controller, or he won't be able to do anything when he spawns in. And he won't be able to load because the controller won't ever load. So let's take a look at the other monster controllers. I'm just gonna grab the Hirundu controller and I'm gonna clone it. Just to give you an idea of because it's still gonna have the right arms and stuff. So here it is. Now he's gonna do he's got the Hirundu weapons. He's gonna still do all the Hirundu attacks, the slash and grab attacks, and then the fireball attacks. So we'll see that. He'll also have the red hands. Let me copy the path and make sure it's loaded in his data. Did I move that? I did move the game table over here. Now, if I left the Hirundu controller on this character, it would have been fine too. It basically would do the same thing. Let's go ahead and load in and make sure I didn't cause any errors. Alright, so once I move over to this side, you can see that all the post-process stuff is working here. So what you're seeing is him basically switching back and forth between the Hirundu sprites that are on the same atlas as his normal walking ones. So you can see that's him walking. This is the... Let me actually just turn off his... turn this one off. We'll turn off the vomit. We'll just see him walk around a little bit more. Trouble is that this Hirundu has a couple of animations where, before he makes these attacks, he will he'll do this wind-up animation. That's what you're seeing right there. That's actually on the same sprite sheet. It's this this set of animations. These guys down here. And each of these sprite sheets has animation like slots that are reused for every character. Some of the monsters have unique ones because I've just got kind of a handful of slots that I don't really need for all their animations. But yeah, that's that. Let's go ahead and look at setting up his weapon. Some more unique stuff. And see all these post-process effects I've got loading based on the tiles that you're moving into. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of hard to track what you're seeing in the test level. Maybe I'll just turn them off for a little while here. Okay, so let's talk about the attacks. Okay, so I have set up for him, I think he's going to have 6 different attacks. Okay. No, I actually have 8 assigned to him. It's going to take a little while to get him all built, but that's going to be what I'm working on. How much time we got left tonight? I probably get started on it and probably be done by the end of the week. So I guess I'll be able to show off this this fully realized creature. He's going to have attacks like jumps and howls and dodges, and he's going to be a fairly fast monster. If you've ever seen how the bat moves and the imps move, they're a little more cagey. Even the wraith has quite a few attacks that are pretty good at evading the player and pretty quick. Don't have too many monsters that do that. So I'm going to call it for now, and I will remind you guys that the game is playable up on itch. Let me go ahead and pull up the page here, and it's in the description down below. I've got some builds here for you guys to download and play. It's pretty small file size, as you can imagine. Any kind of feedback you could give on combat, what feels good, what feels bad. I'm still tweaking things like stamina values and attack speeds and monsters, but now I have a pretty good idea of what the core loop is going to look like, and I'd love to get more feedback on the mechanics of combat to make some updates. So yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions on any development stuff, and I'll keep you posted and probably put up some more videos once that werewolf is set. I will see you guys next time.